Well, this is an election year, of course, and the election has always had a big impact on Wall Street, but this has been an unusual year, and that's the understatement, I think. Alan Valdes is here, longtime Wall Street trader, longtime friend. Alan, I mean, you've been around. Have you seen anything like 2020 in all your years on Wall Street?
Never. I thought with Al Gore, that was a crazy one, but this one is on steroids compared to the Al Gore debacle. I mean, and there's no way, I don't think anyone can handicap it. It's just too close to call. That's why tonight is such a big night, not only for the candidates, but it's also a big night for Wall Street. We'll be watching this closely. I mean, I think that's why you're seeing the markets flat down. They're down like 100 today or something like that. But basically, they're flat. They'll be bouncing back and forth. And I think they're going to continue to bounce back and forth till we get some direction. And hopefully, we get some tonight. It's going to be interesting. I think almost all of America that's going to vote is going to watch tonight's Democratic.
Yeah, and I mean, we're so used to talking about during elections, taxes and regulations, and I mean, now we're talking about, will Joe Biden be able to stand up to China? And I mean, like these huge issues, global issues that really could determine how the world works in the next couple of generations. I mean, this is more than Trump and Biden. I mean, these are much bigger philosophical issues that we're debating and discussing here and voting on.
You're 100% right. And this is really, like you just mentioned, more about the two candidates than it is about it for America. I mean, this could be a monumental change for America in one direction or another. I mean, more so with Joe Biden because the Democrats have gone so far left. I mean, their policies, we look at some of these big Democratic cities, and I don't mean to pick on them, but they're falling apart. I mean, they're still ablaze, they're still fighting, and they want to defund the police departments. I mean, that's insane. I mean, you're in New York, I'm in New York a lot of the time, and you need police. And it would hurt the communities that are pushing, some of them are pushing for defunding. So it's crazy out there what's going on. So I think tonight it's going to be closely watched. And on a global basis, you're right. I mean, it seems Joe Biden, what you hear, is not as a pretty big advocate of China, when yet China has killed over 1 million people with this coronavirus so far. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, I know. We're certainly living in interesting times. I mean, what about what do you think of the big trends that this pandemic has brought on in terms of work from home and commercial real estate? And I mean, this is almost October. I never dreamed I'd still be working from home still in October, but this is...
No, and it's crazy. I did a hit yesterday with another broadcaster who's still out in the Hamptons doing her hits. So, I mean, things have definitely changed. And I think it's gonna be years before New York City gets back to normal. I mean, down on Wall Street, commercial real estate's just caving in. I think all through the cities. Over 4,000 businesses have claimed bankruptcies in the city and have left already, and they're not coming back. Mm-hmm. The surge in bankruptcies in New York alone is up 40% from this time last year. I don't know how they get that back on track. I mean, you look at Broadway. Even if they open next year, would you want to go to a theater if this thing has a good vaccine and sit next to someone you don't know for 2 or 3 hours? I don't think that's going to happen. Just like airlines, I think people are still going to be afraid to fly the planes. And I think also the cruise industry, this has been like a Hindenburg moment for the cruise industries. Oh, yeah. I mean, they had problems with viruses on the cruise before this. And now, since their average clientele is in their 50s and up, I don't see them getting on a cruise ship anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, as you know, I live in New York. I've got kids here. I'm trying to figure out what do we do? When I think about, so obviously we've had the pandemic, people live in close quarters, things like that. We've had the riots here, the defunding of police in New York. And I think, well, why would anybody move here? Because a lot of people say, it's New York, people always coming and going. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like there's a deeper psychological change. And plus you've got all these great cities now that are cool. I mean, Austin is cool, and Nashville and Denver, and they've all got arts and craft breweries and social scenes. And I don't know if you need to go to New York to be cool anymore. And, that was kind of the driver there for decades.
No, and you bring up a perfect point. I think a lot of young families like you not that you've left already, but are considering New York, and mainly because of the schools. The schools aren't opening anytime soon in New York City. And it's become dangerous to live in New York City, unfortunately. And for me, I mean, I'm a type of guy that eats out every night, and there's no restaurants anymore. It's insane. No Broadway anymore. So, I mean, it's definitely changed. That lure which brings you into New York is not there. Where in the past, if you had a recession, it was still there. There was, New York had an undercurrent. But now it seems like the soul, especially young families like you, if you leave New York City, and they're leaving in droves in New York. Mm-hmm. And I think if that continues, it may be a change forever. I don't see New York coming back anytime soon. It would be at least 5 years, if not more, before people say, okay, let me take a shot at New York. And by that time, it might, it just changes. Your whole mentality about big cities change.
Well, who knows what could happen between now and then? I mean, who would have known in February we were going to be doing this? So, I mean, I have a lot of conversations with people about this, and I hear over and over again, well, it's New York, it always comes back. But I don't think you can.
You can't guarantee that one. But like you said, you may get a vaccine next month that cures everything. But that's a stretch. And again, I think people are saying, this is a stretch, and it's just changing. And just the politics of New York has changed. I mean, this mayor arguably is probably the worst mayor we've ever had in New York City. And let's see where he gets elected again, if he does get elected again. I mean, So the policies of the city are changing too. The whole thing is really, I've never seen such a crazy time in America. It really has.
No, it is. And there's really nobody on the other side that's running for mayor. I mean, we've still got a year, but nobody has come from the Republican side, like a Giuliani or a Mike Bloomberg, that's like, let's clean this up. I mean, so I don't think anybody wants to step up.
It's crazy, but I think we've gotten ourselves, especially in New York City, in such a deep hole. I mean, what are we, $5 billion in debt or something ridiculous? And I don't know how we get out of that. Okay. So you figure the services, I mean, you look at the subways, I mean, they're basically running on a Sunday schedule. Not that I've taken the subways anymore. So I think they've got a big trouble. And obviously the police departments are being defunded. So that's a big problem. I mean, there's so many infrastructure problems in New York that need to be fixed that aren't going to be addressed either. So I think, like you said, the lure for big cities, when you can move to a Denver, when you can move. And now what we've learned on Wall Street is that you don't have to be on the floor. You don't have to be on your office on Broad Street anymore. You can do this. Look at me. I'm here in Florida. So you can do this anywhere. And I know at CNN, Hudson Yards is empty over there. They're doing all their hits from home also, basically. So, I mean, it's just, you don't need to be here thanks to the iPhone. Anywhere with this
amazing what technology has allowed us to do.
It's amazing. So I think that's another thing where years ago we couldn't do that, especially on Wall Street. We had to be on the floor. We had to be near the point of sale. That's all changed. And I think that's going to continue to get even better for with the technology. And so there's no need to be in New York anymore, sadly. Mm-hmm. And, my home's always been on the New York Stock Exchange. I've been down there, 35 years, basically. I've been there my whole life. I left right after high school. And the problem is technology has morphed so greatly now that I don't know if the floor can survive. And granted, it survived the Depression, World War I, World War II. But this pandemic and technology have really struck right at the heart of the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. So just in general investing kind of things, what kind of things are you watching as we get closer to the election?
Well, again, it's crazy. With the pandemic, we were looking at all stay-at-home stocks, at Amazon, at Apple, at, all these stocks that you benefit from when you're at home. And then we heard there's a vaccine coming, so it all switched, and we looked into like CAT, into the airlines and things. But now, as things start to spike again, we're going back to at home. So basically what we're doing now, and with the election, is in cash. We're staying in cash right now, which is good for the markets. And we want to see who wins tonight. Tonight's very big in that effect for the market, that also will get, if we get a clean winner, if it's a Trump, the markets obviously like Trump. I mean, Biden's pressing for higher taxes, which I don't understand. That's insane. In a pandemic, you want to raise taxes on people, but that's what he's pressing for. So I think tonight's going to be crucial for both candidates. I think if Biden has a bad night, you could stick a fork in him, he's over, And I think that's what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. I mean, Biden is a good debater. He's been around a long time, 43 years. So, I mean, he knows how to debate. He could be on his A game tonight. And, Trump, he's going to be bombastic anyway. Yeah. So he's going to be out there no matter what.
Must-see TV for sure. Yeah, well, I'm going to stay up late. I may not sleep. Who knows? Because I'm going to work early tomorrow morning.
It's going to be bigger than the Super Bowl. And Joe wants to get rest every 30 minutes. He wants to get a, 2-hour rest? No, I'm kidding. But he wants to get a rest every 30 minutes, but they're not going to let him.
Well, and once you count all the TV, cable, streaming, I mean, this could be absolutely, and global. I think people all around the globe are going to watch this tonight.
Yeah, well, definitely in Europe, that's for sure, Yeah,
and I've had friends in Australia who are very interested in this election. So
yeah, it's going to be, I'm going to be curious. And it's on Fox, I think, right?
It's on Fox, yeah. So,
overnight on this thing.
Alan, let's do this on a regular basis up until the election.
Yeah, I'm good. Any night you want to do it, any day you want to do it for you, Jane. I'm here.
Well, we should make it a regular thing. So great to talk to you, and we'll talk soon. Okay,
great.
Thanks,
Stay safe and stay healthy there in New York.
I know. I'm trying. Bye.
Bye, Jane.